Hey gang, Carlos Luna here. Let me tell you everything you need to know to get caught up for Fantasy High junior year. And hey, if you want a refresher on sophomore year, just skip to the halfway point in the video. Maybe the editors can do me a solid and put the timestamp right here? There we go. Anyways, meet the bad kids. Fig, Kristen, Gorgug, Fabian, Adine, and Riz. They're the heroes of this journey, and nothing bad will ever happen to them. Oh wait, Gorgug and Kristen are actually fully dead. Wait, this happens in episode 2. Maybe we should back up a bit. Welcome to the world of Spire, a classically high fantasy setting filled with ancient dragons, elusive elves, shields, and sorcery. But there's one part of this world that doesn't fit the mold. The Nation of Solace, where advances in Arcanotech have resulted in a nation that combines high fantasy with something out of a 1980s suburban America. And in Solace's tiny, quiet town of Elmville, we meet 6 freshmen on their first day at the Eggford Adventuring Academy. Fabian Arameus Seacaster, son of the notorious but now retired pirate Bill Seacaster,
who sailed the Celestine Sea,
and Hilarial Seacaster, daughter of a renowned high elf from the elven nation of Falinel. Gorgug Thistlespring, the adopted half-orc son of gnomish inventors Wilma and Digby Thistlespring. Kristen Applebee's, chosen prophet of the corn god Helio.
Thank Helio, thanks Soul.
Adine Abernat, sister of Aelwyn Abernat, daughter of Arianwyn Abernat, a professor at the prestigious Hudall College, and Angwyn Abernat, Falinel's elven diplomat in Solace. We've got Riz Gutgak, an inquisitive goblin determined to help his mother, Elmville police officer Sklanda Gutgak, with the case of his missing babysitter, Penny Luckstone, and Figurath Fig Faeth, a formerly thought to be elf who started growing her horns over the summer and realized she was a tiefling, and that her biological father isn't who she thought it was. The father that raised her, Galir Faeth, is a very sad, unemployed elf, and her biological father is a secret her mom's been keeping for 14 years.
Who's my dad?
The 6 meet up on the first day of school and all find themselves sent to detention for getting into trouble.
See you at detention.
Well, except for Kristen, who asked to go to detention so she can help the bad kids find the light of Helio.
It's like I got detention.
Unfortunately for them, someone brings the cafeteria's cream corn to life and infests the place with corn gremlins.
Corn cuties.
And sends the nice old lunch lady Doreen into an evil rage against the kids. After trying, and mostly failing, to climb over some tables, eventually the bad kids defeat the corn monsters and Doreen. Well, Adine actually brutally murders her with a ladle and has a panic attack. But unfortunately, the corn monsters also kill Gorgug and Kristen in the process. Like again, fully dead. And then that thing happens where the principal commits a murder-suicide in a high school in episode 2. Anyways, in the aftermath of the Corn Cutie battle, Vice Principal Goldenhorde announces new security measures around the school, and the reinstatement of the prom king and queen at the end of the year. The bad kids try to learn more about the increasing number of girls mysteriously gone missing from the school. They make friends with Biz from the AV Club.
I'm the head of the AV Club.
And investigate Johnny Spells, an older tiefling greaser who dates girls at the school.
He's rad as hell.
But Johnny Spells,
Doesn't fuck.
seriously. The group finds that Johnny has his girlfriend, Sam Nightingale, trapped in a crystal. They grab the crystal and take off in a stolen car belonging to Johnny.
Johnny, they're getting in your car!
Johnny and his greaser buddies give chase, but are no match for the bad kids, who kill Johnny and his entire gang.
Johnny Spells is dead.
Fabian even wins Johnny's motorcycle, a living demonic motorcycle he calls the Hangman after his father's pirate ship. They meet the Cubbies, a family of anarcho-communist halflings.
to the ice cream shop.
They cool off with some ice cream at Besrard's soda fountain and meet up with Biz to investigate the crystal further.
I think there's something inside of it.
After receiving a mysterious text meant for Johnny Spells summoning them to a local club called the Black Pit, the bad kids sneak in and find Johnny's co-conspirator, Zane Darkshadow, a goth Eggford student with a chip on his shoulder. After an extended battle against zombies, an evil DJ, and some werewolves, there are 2 major developments. Kristen has a possible crush on a cool girl named Tracker, and the bad kid set a drug-dealing werewolf Jawbone on a new path towards bettering himself by telling him about the 2 open staff positions at Eggford Adventuring Academy. Still on Zane's trail, the bad kids head over to Cravencroft Cemetery, passing by a newly built bank, KVX Bank. However, it looks pretty boring and doesn't have any free pens, so it doesn't really capture their interest. More on that later. Anyways, they find out Zane died and go check out his apartment to see if there were any clues left behind, which leads them to a closed mithril factory
Mithril Factory.
Okay, I think it's the abandoned mithril factory.
where they find Fig's biological father, a devil named Gorthalax the Insatiable,
So metal.
who's been trapped in a ruby for a while. It turns out he was Johnny Spell's warlock patron, and it was his idea not to let Johnny Spells fuck, which he categorically did not.
He didn't fuck.
Wait, did word get around?
And speaking of Fig's dad, her other dad, Galir, gets a job at the school, replacing Doreen as the lunch lady. Well, he's not the lunch lady, he's like the lunch lad.
I don't like lunch, lad.
Unfortunately, that was the only position available since the role of the guidance counselor had already been filled by Jawbone.
Let's fucking fix kids.
Later, Biz is attacked by a mysterious assailant
Who attacked you?
and is sent to the hospital. Not only that, but the attacker also steals the crystal with Sam Nightingale inside. But the bad kids recognize the description of the attacker, Coach Daybreak, the Helioic coach of the Eggford Academy Blood Rush team. So they race back to the school to find Daybreak and the rest of the Blood Rush team engaged in a ritual to bring about the apocalypse. They kill Coach Daybreak as well as upperclassman bully Rog Barkrock, but then bring Rog back to life to interrogate him and convince him to protect them or else suffer a horrible fate.
You should coach his
Hold up
pants.
the coach's pants.
On the plus side, they do encourage Rog to deal with his conflicted emotions. Time passes and things go back to normal. Except the bad kids are now pretty well liked, they're popular, and ahead of their studies after so much battle experience.
You look great at the rage. I can really feel it.
Adine even gets new clothes from a mysterious benefactor, including a jacket that has a pocket dimension inside of it, and she can pull anything out of it, so long as what she wants isn't alive and doesn't cost more than 10 gold. The trail of the missing girls heats up again when Adine suspects her sister Aelwyn is involved in the plot. They show up at a house party being thrown by fellow student Ostentatia Wallace to witness Aelwyn trapping Ostentatia in a crystal. The bad kids defeat Aelwyn and are able to glean that Eggford Queen Bee Penelope Everpetal is also somehow involved in the plot. But unfortunately, Ostentatia is trapped in the crystal. Also, Riz finds out that his boring dead dad was actually an extremely cool international agent of espionage, Dead Dad.
Love you, Dad.
But before they can get any further, they find out Zelda, Gorgug's girlfriend, has been trapped in a crystal as well.
Zelda,
Wait, what?
your girlfriend. Girl.
Actually, we're not dating.
They take it to a recovered Biz to see if he can help extract Zelda, only to discover that he has all the crystals with the other missing girls.
Hey guys, this is a bad guy.
And he's been working for the bad guys this whole time. One by one, he digitally transfers them away before the bad kids can stop him. Eventually, they kick his ass and interrogate him. And potentially go a little too far,
Those girls are going to the AV club. What happens to them once they get there?
but they discover his mind and memories have been altered by Aelwyn to hide the true conspirators. The bad kids are then arrested and held in jail for, well, a lot of stuff.
You can't murder people.
All the crimes they committed in their investigation. You just sort of end up committing a lot of violent crimes when you're an adventurer, you know?
Really
I love
so cool.
going to jail.
Finally, Bud Cubby, the anarcho-communist halfling mailman they met earlier, breaks them out, and the bad kids discover the final piece of the puzzle. Principal Goldenhorde is actually an ancient evil dragon known as Calvaxis, the Emperor of the Red Waste. Now, an ancient prophecy stated Calvaxis would be released from bondage once a new king and queen were crowned in Solace. Apparently, the prom king and queen technically count. 7 maidens were chained in his lair. That's what the missing girls were about. A glittering treasure is in his possession. Say it with me now. KBX Bank. Calvaxis Bank. And the realm is at war. Think about it, now the elven nation of Falinal has declared war with Solace over the imprisonment of Aelwyn Abernat, daughter of a diplomat. Then Calvaxis would rise to power, and the world as we know it would perish. Goldenhorde knew he would need to delay the bad kids a little longer, so he has his henchmen attack the bad kids' families. They all race across Elmville to save their loved ones, arriving just in the nick of time, but Bill Seacaster is fatally wounded. Fabian gives him a true pirate's end by driving his sword through his father's heart.
That's the way you do it, boy!
The bad kids return to the gymnasium for prom to stop the crowning of a king and queen and prevent the prophecy, only to discover they're a little too late. Penelope Everpetal has been crowned prom queen, and Goldenhorde has transformed into a massive dragon. With the help of an escape from heaven, Arthur Eggford, and the most powerful magic of all, chronomancy, the bad kids are able to defeat Calvaxis. The kidnapped maidens are rescued by Fig's mom, Sandra Lynn. Adine, whose parents abandoned her to return to Falinal, is taken in by Jawbone.
Went back to Falinal? I think they didn't even tell me.
Rog Barkrock accepts his true self.
I am gay. I am proud of it now.
And Calvaxis' corpse gets turned into Bill Seacaster's ship in hell, the Goldenrod. All's well that ends well. Except the mysterious ancient relic, the Crown of the Nightmare King, has mysteriously gone missing from Principal Egbert's office.
Nightmare King's crown is missing?
But that probably won't come back to haunt them in sophomore year, right?
Fantasy High, sophomore year.
It's been almost a year since the finale of Fantasy High freshman year. Right on the cusp of the Bad Kids' sophomore year, spring break. And a lot has changed. Jawbone and Sandra Lynn are together, and they're moving into a new house, Mordred Manor.
Woo! All right, look at this place. This looks great.
Speaking of new couples, Galir is dating Hilariel Seacaster, although he's living in her garage.
Living room is open. I put a trundle in there for you.
And Kristen and Trekker have gotten together. Riz claims to have a significant other from the Baronies, and some of the Bad Kids are still looking for someone special, like Fabian, who's been searching for information as to where in Falinal his crush, Aelwyn Abernat, is being held. Now, the Bad Kids are all gathered at Mordred Manor when Professor Arthur Egbert arrives and tells them that their sophomore year project will be to retrieve the still missing crown of the Nightmare King over spring break, and that this project will account for 60% of their final grades. Additionally, the Bad Kids are finally given the Golden Horde of Calvaxus after defeating him last year.
And gold coins come out of his sleeves.
But Egbert tells them that the gold is likely cursed. To aid them on their quest, the Bad Kids bring along some help for the journey. Galir and Rog as hirelings, and Trekker and Sandra Lynn, and Fabian's maid and former pirate, Cathilda, join the party as well. Also, Gorgug's parents sell him a pretty sweet van to travel in, and Adine has a new familiar, a perfectly round frog they named
Buggy the Froggy.
But dark forces gather. Riz finds a photo of his father, Pak, posing with a Tabaxi woman that no one else can see, and is later dragged into a mirror by a mysterious skeletal being that was born of his lies.
You have been naughty thrice, Rizgak.
Across town, Fig is possessed and traps her father, Gorthalax, in a cursed ruby. Rog reveals that it was likely Adine's mother, Arianwen Abernat, who stole the crown of the Nightmare King. And worst of all, Gorgug forgets to call his girlfriend Zelda before leaving to say goodbye, and doesn't realize until he's outside of cell phone service.
The question is, did you leave without saying goodbye?
After rescuing Fig and Riz and a few scuffles of little consequence, other than Galir dying briefly, the group heads off to the Great Celestine Sea towards the pirate city of Leviathan to talk to a person of interest named Gardy O'Brien. The Bad Kids arrive at
The pirate city of Leviathan.
which is composed of countless shipwrecks latched together to form a singular metropolis. They meet a young warlock named Alistair Ashe, who receives his spell slots from a multi-level marketing scheme headed by his patron, none other than the recently deceased Bill Seacaster, who's on a quest to conquer hell. Alistair takes an instant liking to Fabian, assuming Fabian is just as much of a pirate as his father was.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Were you a friend of my father's?
And speaking of Bill Seacaster, they come across his nemesis, Captain James Whitlaw, who Fabian antagonizes when Whitlaw insults the legacy of Bill Seacaster.
Your father was no pirate.
After meeting with Gardy, who tells them they've been tricked into helping Arianwen break the curse of the Nightmare King's crown, the Bad Kids go a little wild with drinking, drugs, and tattoos.
I'll definitely get a tattoo.
Especially Riz, who attempts to get clues tattooed across his entire body. Fabian attempts to lead the other warlocks of Bill Seacaster into an attack on Whitlaw, and it instantly fails and leads to the brutal deaths of almost everyone except for Fabian and a few lasting warlocks who narrowly escape.
He's a jolly good fella. He's a jolly good fella.
And in an attempt to assist Fabian, Fig and Gorgug try to do that thing that happens in pirate movies when you grab a hold of a rope, slash its anchor, and swing into action, except it winds up going so fast that the sheer velocity almost kills them. Speaking of not good, the Shadow Cat, the Tabaxi from Pak Gugak's photo, returns to manipulate Fabian into nearly destroying the Hangman and threatens Riz and Kristen,
This is gonna get so much worse.
who can suddenly see her somehow.
Two people that didn't used to be able to see the Shadow Cat in the photograph can now see Kalina.
Actually, let's skip ahead a little. It turns out the Shadow Cat, aka Kalina, is a transubstantiated familiar who is herself a plague that is transmitted via bodily fluids. Riz's father was Elmville's patient zero, infected while on a mission from a centuries-old healer's kit in Selvair, which Brennan actually revealed in the Discord, so you wouldn't even gotten the information from watching the show. So, how helpful am I? Now, Pak inadvertently spread it to his wife Sklanda, and the plague was passed down to Riz from birth. From there, Sklanda unknowingly spread it to Gorthalax, who spread it to Sandra Lynn, who passed it on to Tracker via a healing blood transfusion, who sexually transmitted it to Kristen. Anyways, the bad kids need more information on the Nightmare King and head to Leviathan's Soul Library, the Compass Points. There, they meet Ida Egfort, a half-Phoenix wizard and the estranged daughter of Arthur Egfort. Remember when Arthur said he had sex with a phoenix?
That bird is the last phoenix. I fucked that bird.
Well, this is his daughter.
Oh, he really did fuck anything.
Shortly after, Captain James Whitlaw attempts to stage a coup and claim the crown of the Pirate King. But after an intense battle, the bad kids defeat him once and for all.
Captain James Wicklaw is killed.
But also during the fight, High Elves appear and kidnap Adine away to Falinel, and so the bad kids have to make haste to rescue her. Adine is imprisoned in a magical spear that never stops turning, alongside her sister Aelwyn, who's been here being tortured and tormented for her failures the previous year. Months on end without a break have left Aelwyn completely broken and demoralized. With the help of Arthur Egfort, who, in a bit of an overreaction, grows to 450 feet tall, drags the sun across the sky, and summons an army of terracotta warriors to siege Falinel, the bad kids are able to rescue Adine and Aelwyn, and even get Fabian's self-confidence back as he charms a fire elemental and relights a fire within him.
It kisses you so softly on the lips.
Which is great because he was starting to have visions of himself turn into something extremely Gallier-esque in his future. Also, Kristen and her 4 dexterity attempts to fly using a ribbon. It does not work. The group gets a chance to take a rest in the beautiful glade of Kai Luminura in Falinel, under the hospitality of Fabian's maternal grandfather. Rog is hooking up with a local elf named Fethethriel.
Gorgug, what's up, dude? Do you need me?
Fabian's grandpapa feeds Gorgug a flower.
Complex flavor, I don't like it.
Fig is growing closer to Ida.
Are you asking to have a slumber party?
And the group is able to do some research into the unnamed mysterious goddess of mystery and their connection to Kalina. While that all happens outside, Adine and Aelwyn are able to bond in the wake of their torment in Calethriel Tower. Aelwyn expresses her regret over the way she treated Adine, and Adine sees the genuine nature of this by trying to see if anything can be done to help with the mental trauma Aelwyn endured through casting Detect Thoughts. But also discovers something hidden deep within Aelwyn's mind, a piece of magic that Aelwyn had planted, knowing only Adine would ever be clever enough to find it. Adine, thinking she's helping to heal Aelwyn's mind, triggers the magic, but it turns out it was basically a backup of a previous version of Aelwyn's mind and personality, back when she was a lot more villainous. All the bonding with Adine has been wiped from her mind, and she's the same old Aelwyn Abernat from freshman year. Aelwyn is able to trick the bad kids and get back her spellbook and the ruby containing Gorthalax and disappears.
What? And teleports.
And uses Fethethriel to aid her, while taunting Fig over the burgeoning relationship with Ida. I mean, way to twist a knife.
Joke on grapes, bitch!
In a bit of good news, Gorgug decides to put his sadness over being unable to contact Zelda aside in order to fix up the hangman for Fabian.
Working on the hangman.
And in a bit of neutral news, we sure haven't seen Gallier in a while. I hope that guy's okay and the cast hasn't just forgot about him.
Where is Gallier, by the way?
Yeah, where?
Anyways, the bad kids find out that Arianwen is making her way towards a village on the outskirts of the forest of the Nightmare King, likely with Aelwyn in tow. While there and trying to figure out the next steps, the group throws a shrimp party. And Fig and Ida get their kisses in.
A kisser and then I skateboard away!
Also, they find Gallier in the wheel well of the hangman. See, no one forgot about Gallier.
Gallier, by the way.
Yeah, where?
Before they can get further in their investigation, Fig is subpoenaed to Hell to answer for her father Gorthalax's absence in his duties.
You've been served.
Since, as usual, Gorthalax is trapped in a gem. Honestly, Fig's dads have the worst luck. Fig, Riz, the Hangman, and Gallier make it through the portal to Hell, but it closes before anyone else can get through.
Hey, bitch!
You're in hell.
Gallier comes across some suit of armor based on the 7 deadly sins.
I'm not going to put on the kink armor.
Fig gains a new demonic pal made of her blood named Retrot, but you can call it Baby. And Riz gets a visit from Kalina, who reveals a surprising inhabitant in Hell, Pak Gugkak, Riz's deceased father now being tortured by devils. Meanwhile, outside of Hell, Gorgug finally gets his crystal working again and is able to call Zelda to apologize. They make up and it's very sweet. Eventually, Ida's able to plane ship the rest of the Bad Kids into Hell to ensure no harm comes to her newly minted paramour Fig, and everyone finds themselves in a free-for-all battle involving devils, enemies from the past, and even Bill Seacaster, now a horrifying enormous devil commanding a ship made of Calvaxis' still living remains. Also, Galir dies twice somehow, but more importantly,
Toxic masculinity is dead!
during all this, Riz sneaks off to rescue his father, only for it to be revealed that Pak was only in Hell as an undercover agent sent to gather information on the enemy. A beam of light carries Pak and Riz away to heaven, where Pak actually resides in the afterlife. They have some time to bond, and Pak is able to tell Riz more about how to defeat Kalina before sending him back to his friends.
Love you so much, kid.
Oh, also, Fig gets her dad's job in Hell and is now officially an archdevil.
Yeah, bitch, it's fun!
Band frontwoman, archdevil, and a student who never attends the classes she's assigned to. Fig's got a lot going on, guys. When they return to Sylvere, she tells Galir to stay out of the forest of the Nightmare King because they can't keep spending their diamonds to revivify him. The Bad Kids are finally able to enter the forest of the Nightmare King, and each must go through a trial of their greatest fears. Kristen has another religious awakening, only to be impaled through the heart by the horn of a skeletal unicorn, and once again find herself in the plane of Elysium, facing her ex-god Helio, Sol, and Tracker's god Galakea. Kristen punches Sol in the face, pledges herself to the unnamed goddess of mystery and doubt, and books it.
What's up, man?
Returning to the material plane with a fancy new staff, Riz is confronted by a visage of Baron, taunting him about how he keeps himself at a distance from others and doesn't connect romantically with others like the rest of his friends.
I don't have a romance partner.
But Fabian is confronted by the visage of the sexy rat Fig had created in their freshman year,
And you, sexy rat, you're gonna fuck me?
and also the extremely likely to be the actual real pirate warlock Jungle Down Bim. Fig is confronted by her own self-doubt and fears of her self-worth with a mere version of herself.
Shattered fragments of Fig.
Gorgug is confronted by his feeling of intellectual inadequacy, and Adine comes across her sister Aelwyn and father Angwen and punches her father to death.
Guess what, bitch? I'm strong now.
I mean, he really deserved it. Riz and Fig are about to get crushed by an oncoming wave of demons. And hey, Riz's briefcase is shaking a little. The briefcase bursts open and a glorious golden armored knight emerges. It's one of the suits of sin armor from Hell, the armor of pride. But doesn't it latch onto the sin of the wearer to destroy them?
Demon! I have no pride!
Galir wipes out the entire army of demons by himself, but then gets a little proud of himself and dies.
I died really quick in there.
It's fine, they bring him back and keep going. At the heart of the forest of the Nightmare King, they find Arianwen and Kalina summoning the Nightmare King back into existence. The Bad Kids are able to fight through some mind-controlled enemies, rescue Gorthalex from the Cursed Ruby, defeat Kalina, and fail to stop the return of the Nightmare King. But as usual, Allie rolls a truly clutch nat 20 and sees the Nightmare King and the unnamed goddess are one in the same. She reaches out to the Nightmare King and discovers their true self within. From before the elves stripped her of her name and identity and she became the Nightmare King. She's now born as Cassandra, goddess of doubt and mystery, restores the party, and removes magic from Arianwen so she can no longer pose a threat to anyone. Everyone returns home and things get back to normal. Jawbone officially adopts Adine and invites Aelwyn to come live with them in Mordred Manor. A magic door is put in connecting the compass points to Mordred Manor, so Ida can transverse between the two locations quickly. Tracker leaves Elmville to teach the elves about the werewolf aspects of her goddess Galakea, and brings Rog along as a bodyguard. Then one day, while relaxing by the pool at Strong Tower Luxury Apartments, Skalanda notices Riz's tattoos from Leviathan. As they're read out loud, Riz gets to Night Yorb. And the Night Yorb emerges from Riz's chest, bringing endless night to all aspire.
What is that?
And Arthur Egford asks what the Bad Kids think their junior year project might be. And that's it. We just summarized about 80 hours of the show in about 20-something minutes. You're now officially ready to watch Dimension 20 Fantasy High Junior Year, premiering on Dropout.tv on January 10th, 2024.